Hey, what's up everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I've talked about my Lakers. Very happy about Dinwiddie coming in. Now I figured I'd just run through the league and whatever comes to mind. I just often tend to do this. I'll give it to you. First of all, I think the Dallas Mavericks are a real team right now, man. If they can keep Kyrie and Luka healthy, come playoff time, they're a significantly more dangerous team right now than they were before the deadline. Picking up PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford is not minor. That ain't minor, especially when they still got Lively and Holmes on the roster. I didn't think Grant Williams was a major factor for them. I really didn't. I thought his contract sucked for them too. I would have never signed him to that. And I actually like Grant Williams. I liked him with the Celtics as a beyond role player, like a little better than a role player, regular starter, traditional rotation guy. Stretch the floor, play some very hard defense. But I don't think that his upside matches what you would expect from a guy that they paid that much for that many years. Maybe if you want to give him that much for 2 years, cool. But for like 4 years, that's a hell of a commitment to a guy that I don't know that really complimented Dallas very much at all. Gafford, hell yeah, he's going to compliment. And he's having a breakout season, more or less. Playing great ball right now for a Washington Wizards team, to where you bring him into a Dallas Mavericks situation. I'm pretty sure he can have a similar role. I don't know if it's going to hurt the fact that he's playing with Lively, and PJ does play the center position at times, but they will adjust PJ's role to probably play a little more forward. I don't know who they're going to start and back up. I ain't really, it's up to Jason Kidd how he wants to use it, but the point is they got significantly more deep. Because at the end of the day, Grant Williams ain't really that much of a threat offensively. Not at all. I mean, he can hit threes. You've seen him do it in the playoffs. But is he going to be somebody you can count on to get 25, 30, 40 points? No. PJ, yes. Gafford, double threat. Great shot blocker from the weak side. High fly act that's going to get a lot of lobs from Kyrie and Luka. So, for me, they went from having a deficiency at the center position last season to where you could lay the ball up on them every night to now having multiple shot blocking threats. And that is something that they were able to acquire without losing any of their other depth. So in other words, you plug up their worst hole and make it a strength, and you still got Kyrie, you still got Luka, you still got Hardaway, you know what I'm saying? You still got those players in place. It has to be seen what it looks like on the court. But in my mind's eye, they have probably leapfrogged a few teams in the Western Conference from a talent standpoint. They have leapfrogged some teams. Because, like I said, I don't think Grant Williams really meant nothing to them. I really don't. I don't think he's going to help them half as much as PJ Washington is alone. And when you add Gafford to that situation, what they give up to get Gafford? I don't even think they gave up too much to get Gafford now. So it's like, I love what they did. Man. I think they hit it out the park. I know they would have loved to get Dinwiddie from us. If he would have chose them, they would have really been rolling, but I mean, I think they're really rolling now. And you got Kyrie Irving playing at this high of a level. Luka the Don is Luka the Don. Arguably one of the best players that we've ever seen. I don't think that's even really arguable, to be honest with you. He is one of the best players we've ever seen. And so it's like, I think their upside is championship. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I think their upside is absolutely championship. Especially if Derek Lively stay healthy and continues to play the way he's been playing with those other reinforcements to help him. They got shot blockers now. PJ Washington could block a shot. That's what I don't think people realize. PJ Washington averaged like a block a game. I don't know, I haven't seen the numbers, but at owning him in my fantasy team, I never lacked for blocks. Never. And he's played with other bigs. They got multiple bigs in Charlotte. He still was able to get his from the power forward position. So it's like, when you add that next to Derek Lively, and then you put Daniel Gafford, arguably a candidate for most improved on the team, yeah, man, that's a serious bit of reinforcements to add to their front court situation, for which they weren't a horrible team last year. They just didn't have that dynamic, and it was one that they needed. But they were still within a game of the play-in tournament last year without any centers at all. You know what I'm saying? Without any of the reinforcements that they're going to now. So they are a dangerous, very, very dangerous team. And when you consider how well they can execute down the stretch with the two superstars that they have being two of the best clutch players in the basketball, I don't see why they can't win close games. They should be able to defend light years better than last year, and they should be able to score the same way as they always have. With Tim Hardaway being healthy, for which most of the time he's not, knock on wood, he stays healthy, that team's going to be able to hit threes, rebound, block shots, score in the paint with Kyrie and Luka. They don't really have too many flaws, man, especially with Hardaway playing at this high of a level this season. He's playing at a very high level right now. And so for me, it's like, I don't see too much going wrong with them. You got Green down there who's starting to develop, play better. They still got Dwight Powell. They could push him in the back of the bench, but still have him as depth for that center position. So it went from having their center position being a weakness to their center position being a strength at this point. And that is dangerous as hell when you consider they're already really good even when they didn't have a center. They were just weak in a very key area. So, yeah, man, I think the Dallas Mavericks fans should be thinking about championship. I really believe that. They should be thinking championship. I would not be surprised if they beat certain teams that they're not expected to beat now that they bring in those type of reinforcements. I'm serious too. I think that much of PJ and Gafford next to Kyrie and Luka and Lively, that is not to be toyed with. And Hardaway, that's not to be toyed with, man. I know what they just acquired. So that's one thing. Patrick Beverley's going to help the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know if he's the answer that I would have wanted them to have. I think they much more needed a Bruce Brown, KCP type guy, Caruso type guy. But I do think that bringing in Patrick Beverley does help their overall cohesiveness on the defensive side, which is what they desperately needed. You needed to be able to get away from Patrick Beverley. That's what you needed. Not Patrick Beverley, Malik Beasley. That's what I'm trying to say. You wanted to get away from Malik Beasley because Malik Beasley is not to be relied upon defensively or offensively. I know how well he's been shooting the first half of the season. I also had him on my team for half a season last year. He was the worst shooter we probably ever signed, bro. Literally. He had 2 or 3 games where he was absolutely amazing, and the rest of them games, he could not hit a shot. That's literally how it went. Could not hit a shot. So, for me, I'm not interested in having him play a significant role if I'm actually serious about winning the championship. Bringing in Patrick Beverley makes it so that I don't have to. Now, Patrick Beverley is facing Father Time to a degree. I don't know that he's dropped off too much from when he was with the Lakers, but he's not somebody to be relied upon either. But next to Dame, next to Giannis, you just need him to do what he does best, which is play defense and make other people play defense. That's really it. And he gonna lay into people's backside. The synergy with Doc, he should soften the blow for Doc's responsibility as a coach because he's gonna be a coach on the floor who knows Doc's system as well as anybody from them Clippard years. So he's gonna help with Doc. And I think that's what he's gonna ultimately be for their team. An assistant coach and a defensive coordinator. And a mouthpiece for strength and otherwise motivation, which I know he did a good job for with us. As he was always making us louder than we were. That's what it would have came down to. He's louder than he is effective, but that loud holds some weight because he makes it so that other people on the team play better. You saw that little juke move that Antetokounmpo's brother did a couple nights ago? That was what I call the Patrick Beverley effect. That's what I call that. He don't do that before Patrick comes in. I promise you. That was the Patrick Beverley effect. Patrick probably either said something to him or he just fed off of Patrick's energy. And others will as well, including Giannis. They're going to feed off of that. It's a spirit that comes in that lights up fire underneath your roster. And if you're not asking him to do more than that, that fire is going to be resonated across the entire roster. They're going to feel that. I've already seen it. I've seen that dynamic for more than 1 year with him with the Lakers. So I'm a Patrick Beverley guy. I just hated the fact that he was in small ball lineups here, which should not be necessarily how Doc uses it. And so I think he's going to be much more of a helpful piece than maybe one would expect. And I think they're going to win some games because of him. And so, yeah, that's what I got to say. I still don't know that they can win the championship. I don't think they're better than some of the more, obvious contenders to me. like the Denver Nuggets and the Celtics. But come playoff time, you're going to be glad you got Patrick Beverley on that team. That is definitely a good trade. Him for campaign, and you won that. What else? I like what the Celtics did. They picked up a piece that can really help them. First of all, Jaden Springer from the Sixers. I think that's a high upside piece that can triple or quadruple in value if utilized properly over the next 3-4 years. They're going to be glad they have him. And they did something else too. My mind is going to blank on what it is that they did, but they picked up another reinforcement piece. Daniel Gafford. Not Daniel Gafford, but the one from the Milwaukee Grizzlies. Picking up Tillman from the Grizzlies. I like that move because they really needed front court reinforcements. I think Porzingis, with him having a fantastic season, you could probably get the guys that you think that you're set there. You know, Neemias Queta, you may think you're set there. I don't think they were set there. Neemias Queta is a nice piece. Come playoff time, once you got somebody like Joel Embiid or Jokic to try to face, you're going to want somebody else who can battle as a center. And while Tillman is very undersized for the position, he is a banger. He's going to bang. You're not going to just push him around. And one thing I've always liked about Xavier Tillman is he is an underrated facilitator. So your offense is going to be that much more cohesive thinking he's just a center and he starts diming the ball all over the place to people like Porzingis and Brown and Tatum, etc. So I know that Tillman is a triple-double threat when he fully develops. He's not a young guy, but he still has some upside from here. And when you add him to the front court rotation, without losing Queta, I really like their front court rotation. He's like a poor man's Bam, to be honest with you. Poor man's Bam, that's what I call him. And that's not a bad thing at all. So yeah, that's a good move for the Celts. Doug McBuckets going to the Pacers, I thought, not to say that I think so much of that move, but I know Pacers fans are happy to have him back. I had forgotten he had played for the team, so that's the point that I wanted to make there. They're happy to have him back. Buddy Hield going to the Philadelphia 76ers. Everything's contingent on whether or not Joel's coming back. I don't think nothing of the Philadelphia 76ers as a real contender unless he's 100%. And given the fact that he's likely not coming back this season, they're a good regular season team. They got a puncher's chance to win and get in the playoffs for sure. I think they can still actually make the playoffs. But once you start talking about whether or not they can win anything, hell no, they can't win anything without Joel. There's no way. They're not winning anything without him. I think that it's going to take a couple more weeks for the Miami Heat to get the full effect of who they brought in from the Charlotte Hornets. Scary Terry. But once Scary Terry gets his feet under him as a Haitian, they're going to be a much more dangerous team in the second half of the season than they are right now because of his insertion of being a part of that lineup, so long as they stay healthy. Jimmy Butler's finally starting to get healthy. Of course, as we already mentioned, Bam is healthy. Tyler Hero's healthy for now. He ain't never stay healthy, but you know he's good for now. And I think Scary Terry gives them another high-level space drawer, gravity pull on their offense that they may not have had before he got there. You know, with respect to Kyle Lowry, he's just past his prime. You can't count on him to be that anymore. Scary Terry can still do it. So I like that insertion of a high-level talent on their team. I think he also boosts their overall trade equity for the offseason. They're more likely to be able to make a trade that will net them something that they want without having to give up something they don't if they include Scary Terry. So I actually like what he means to their team. Because what they needed was talent and valuable pieces, and I think he is that for them. Especially if I don't know what his contract situation is like right now, but assuming he's up for re-signing, if they re-sign him to something that's a bit more flexible than what he's been on for the last 4 years, I think he's a real asset for the Miami Heat going forward. So that's one thing I want to say. Who else make moves, man? Oh, Chicago Bulls didn't make any moves. You know, the Chicago Bulls, it's tricky because I look at my team and I say we didn't make any moves and there probably wasn't anything available to us. But then I look at the Chicago Bulls and don't keep that same energy. And I think it's because they have some very key expiring contracts that they needed to move on from. My Lakers did, Bron, but you're not moving Bron, you know what I mean? I thought it made sense to, but I see why you don't in the same vein. D'Lo, with him playing so much better, you definitely don't want to do that. But what we also don't have in here in LA is an anchor contract like Lonzo Ball or an anchor contract like Zach LaVine that ain't worth half of what it is representing. So for me, as I told you guys, the only thing that makes sense from the Chicago Bulls for me is moving everything not named Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine, because those two pieces would likely be immovable, so that you can reset your cap situation and start fresh with ultimately a rebuild. I'm trading DeMar DeRozan, I'm trading Vucevic. Depending on what Patrick Williams' situation is free agent-wise, from what I understand, they're likely going to lose him because he's going to want more money, although I don't think he's going to get it on the market either. If he's a free agent asking for too much, I move him. Those are the things that I think the Chicago Bulls should have been doing. They didn't make any moves whatsoever, haven't made any moves in almost 2 years from what I understand. And I can't keep the same energy with them that I keep with the Lakers, because at the end of the day, they had more pressing needs to make moves. So they should have been more likely to take back less to get things done. Because when you're in the situation they're in, you're likely to lose what you have for nothing. So a guy like DeMar DeRozan is probably going to sign somewhere else for nothing. Or what you end up having happen is you're going to have to overpay him, as to which he's going to be what? In his late 30s when this happens? I don't think that's a winning move for the Chicago Bulls either way. You're probably best to just cut ties with him right now. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I'm looking at the Chicago Bulls. I understand there may not have been a whole lot available to them as far as a good trade for what they have. And that is always, something you have to take into account. The market may have been completely ugly for them. But at the same time, if re-signing who you have isn't necessarily a benefit to you, then you probably shouldn't let them walk either. You should probably try to trade them for whatever you can get. If someone wants to give me a first-round pick for DeMar DeRozan, it's not exactly the return I want, but it's probably better than letting him walk or re-signing him at 3-4 times the price. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. I don't think the Chicago Bulls necessarily had a great market for what they had available to them to move, but I also don't think he's probably best for not playing that market just the same. You should have traded something. So that's how I look at the Chicago Bulls. I think most people agree with me who pay attention to them a little bit. They should have made a move of some sort, man. So that's pretty much what I got to say. I'll hit you guys when I get to the other side of town. Video 44. Thank y'all for watching.